Oh, that's nice. Wes Perkins, welcome in. Ryan Pepe Brown, I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome. Lucinda Sullivan, good morning. Lucinda, a fan of the coffee. I drink this coffee in your honor. Pendejo, welcome. Hector Gomez. Pendejo, why don't you go back to Tracy Bogart? Why are you sticking? Now, I know you were in Facebook jail for a while, so you had to change names. Luisa Alanis, good morning. David Valles, Sam Tobias. Good man, Wes. Keep up your end of the bargain. You're a big man. You could have just blown that off. We might have to give you some love on the air for that. Oh. I have no idea what t-shirt Jeremy is wearing, but I guess we'll figure it out. There is a StreamYard link, by the way, now. Just some point when we comment on your t-shirt, we're going to have to make sure you're on screen for that. You made it to the midpoint of the week. It's Wednesday. It's all downhill from here. It's the Chris Duel show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, back for a second consecutive day. And our soundscape stylist, the boy wonder, Jeremy Fouts. Buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Lots going on. And Shannon, first of all, good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty well this morning, sir. Glad to be back for, as you said, 2 whole days in a row.
Woo! You're on a streak. Low. It's officially a streak, right? When you get to this, yeah. Like they say about, I've heard somewhere in sports, some people say it's not a winning streak until you win the third, which I never understood. 2 in a row is a streak as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, speaking of streak, the Astros win after losing. They need to get on a streak, but they beat the Angels. Angels are 4-2. I didn't realize, we were going before the baseball season looking at different predictions, and I jumped all over Sports Illustrated for picking the LA Angels of Anaheim to win the AL West by 1 game over the Astros. And so far the Angels are playing good baseball at 4-2. So it's a good thing the Astros won again, and hopefully they can keep that going. So I'm still coming down off my NCAA tournament high. It's like we had so much to talk about yesterday because we were just coming off of it. And there's a lot going on today, including, man, Deshaun Watson. Every single day, things get worse for him, and perhaps they should. If he's guilty of any of this, and certainly if he's guilty of all of it, if all of these accusers are correct, then he's got it coming. But finally, 2 women come out yesterday and make their names public and put a face to their name and stand by their accusation.
Yeah, we've got faces, and faces change the game for a lot of people. Just looking into their eyes, and one of them was, I think, physically there, and the other one sent a letter that was read. And the first one, I believe, is the one that Deshaun's lawyer claimed that she originally said, "I want $100,000 in hush money before I come public with it," which that in itself is a little, makes you uneasy, makes you feel like he did have something to hide. And then she explicitly states, "I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this so he does not do this to anyone else."
Yeah.
Which unfortunately I don't know where she falls in the line of victims as far as how many we have now, but he has done it to seemingly a lot of people. Should this all be true?
And if it's all true, Shannon, I mean, these are 22 who came forward. We hear so often when it comes to a sexual assault, and we heard that some of these women who were either had massage companies or they were a masseuse or a massage therapist. One of the reasons they didn't want to come forward is you don't want to lose your job or lose business. Or what if you have other high profile clients who are going to say, hey, man, I'm not hiring this woman because, she ratted out Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
what if I don't do anything and she spends it,
Yeah.
What's happens about, and you think of like this year in the pandemic, and I don't get massages all too often because I'm not that bougie, but they probably were shut down for some period of time at the beginning. And even now, I would think that some people are still hesitant to go back. One of my Easter gifts was a massage. So I'm looking forward to eventually using that, but I don't know that I will until I at least have the shots for the vaccine and COVID. And so I don't know. I think that may come into play too. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Deshaun's side starts pushing that of like, this is why they're taking the money angle.
Yeah.
Of, their business has suffered in this last year. And that in itself is believable given the circumstances. But either way, you can't do the things that Deshaun is being accused of having done.
And we've talked about this a lot, and it is something to ponder. And again, I'm a believer where there's smoke, there's fire, and we've got 22 accusers now.
Plus the Sports Illustrated one.
Yes, yes.
Filing.
And they vetted her. Sports Illustrated vetted her witnesses and people she told right after it happened.
And the DMs between her and Deshaun.
Yeah.
That he has since tried to go back and delete, but the other half of that conversation still has those messages.
So let's assume for a moment this is true. Let's assume for a moment, and if I had to guess, based on so many alleged victims, it sure seems like it's true. But let's assume it is. I think I don't think he probably doesn't come back from this, and probably in this new era, which is the post Me Too era, where there's an elevated consciousness for how women have been treated and abused by men and by men in power over all of these years. I don't know that an NFL football team, if NFL teams are staying away from Colin Kaepernick because they believe there's a percentage of their fan base who would revolt and stop buying season tickets and stop coming and stop watching. I mean, how can you not stay away from Deshaun Watson if this is true? And I therefore think the only thing he can do is a full mea culpa, to like get in front of a screen and say, look, I've got problems. I'm realizing that. I'm acknowledging that. I'm seeking therapy. I mean, I think if he does that, I think we're, as a people, I think we're a forgiving people if you cop to what your issue is and try to fix it. I think all human beings are flawed to some extent, some enormously flawed, obviously. But if he would be real and say, I am so wrong. I am so sorry. I am going to work on this. I'm going to take a year off and go into intensive therapy, and I'll check in with you in a year. And I would love to someday come back and play professional football. I think in that case, people and the league would welcome him back. What do you think?
I don't know about going back to play. I mean, I think he still would be tarnished in some way.
Okay.
And I think the NFL too, like they're getting dragged in all of this just because they are associated with him and they are his employer. But I do agree that he needs to do something, because I don't know what else he can do for a living if he, because I'm sure the Houston Texans would get rid of that giant contract and he would be getting next to nothing out of it should the NFL decide he's no longer allowed to play. And you think of players when they retire and they leave the league, and so many of them, a lot of them go back and get their degrees, and others go into adventures and entrepreneurship, but they get there based on their name and the relationships they've made, and their name stands for a lot. And right now, the first thing you think when you think of Deshaun Watson is these 20 plus women who have come forward with these horrible accusations against him.
Whew. Yeah, that is. I mean, you're right.
How does he do anything?
Yeah, I mean, who if he's got some money clearly, so he
Does
could
go sell sandwiches at his own sandwich
I don't
shop?
know. God, I don't know. It's a god awful story, but I mean, there's obviously. I mean, you look at the criminal justice system. You look at people who are in hospitals who have different disorders. There's a certain percentage of our population that have some of these issues or behave in this criminal way, and we've seen it before in sports. You've seen OJ and others who went on to just we thought we knew them and we loved them and we thought there's no way they can do what we're hearing they're accused of doing, and sometimes it happens, and gosh, it's sure looking more and more like, and again, innocent until proven guilty, and again, there's a chance that every one of these allegations is wrong or incorrect, but God, it looks very, very, very bad for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. And even if these, are, for his sake, all wrong and no truth to him whatsoever, there's still going to be a lot of recuperation on his part. And it'd probably be right by him to start campaigning to bring more awareness, because these things do happen, which is why you want the truth to come out in all this, because there are victims of these cases pretty regularly. I mean, just ask Robert Kraft.
Yes.
Who I don't know, I've seen his name drug in all this story too. Some, you kind of laugh at that a little bit with him.
Yeah. Well, and kind of the thing that a lot of people didn't look at in the Robert Kraft situation, he went to this massage parlor somewhere in Florida. I'm forgetting where, Palm Beach.
Right? Yeah, that was its whole operation.
Yeah. And the subtext was, and the horrible thing was, I mean, it's one thing to pay for a masseuse, and that masseuse is kind of acting as a prostitute. Mm-hmm. What I understand from that massage parlor, the women working there were often illegals from China, and they were believed to have been involved in human trafficking, and there's this horrible human trafficking thing going on globally that is rampant and god awful and obscene. And Robert Kraft, if you got money and really good attorneys, you can make things go away. Yeah. It is interesting how, for the most part, this went away from Robert Kraft, and the NFL, which has a personal conduct policy. I thought for sure the NFL would stick to, no one is banging the drum going, hey, NFL, what about a year suspension for Robert Kraft? We've not seen that.
And you talk about evidence, right now we're kind of waiting for more hardcore evidence against Deshaun Watson. I mean, we have all these accusations and we have a couple faces now in the Sports Illustrated article, but Robert Kraft, I mean, there's video that, they never released it because his lawyers did such a great job at putting that down, but there were the flights that he went from Boston to Florida and then to Kansas City before that AFC Championship game. Yeah. And I just, the fact that he's still running an entire organization, guys like him and Dan Snyder,
yeah,
little corrupt on the NFL, are we?
And it makes you wonder of all the things that went into Tom Brady's reasons for wanting to leave the Patriots. Mm-hmm. Obviously wasn't getting along with Belichick, didn't think he was having a supporting cast to enable him to win more Super Bowls. But you got to wonder, was it a 1% part of the calculation? Was it a 10%? You got to wonder, when the Robert Kraft thing came down, if that had something to do with it as well.
Because they've been known to have a pretty good working relationship.
True. Yeah. And I think he did thank Robert Kraft profusely when he went out the door. But again, that is the polite thing to do.
They're connected. And so he, for the most part, Tom Brady has a pretty shiny, good boy image. I'm sure you could dig some things up on the guy, but even then, what are you gonna find?
Right.
Well, he kisses his son on the mouth. So yeah, I mean, him going to Tampa Bay and kind of separating from that. Yeah, I agree. I'm sure it played a role. I'd go more the 10% than the 1%.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see. And you think about, the relationship he has with his wife, Giselle, so, when he would come home, and I'm sure they had conversations about Robert Kraft, and they're both very concerned about their brand. What if this did go the other way? Because as you mentioned, Shannon, how close Brady has been to Robert Kraft over the years. What if the NFL did sanction Robert Kraft? What if it went to court and went bad for Robert Kraft? Then Tom Brady's brand is tarnished somewhat.
Yeah, they called Tom Brady in to like testify or something. Yeah, that's just all a bad situation. And I think like Tom Brady has a daughter,
Yeah.
And I don't know what Kraft's family situation is. I don't know if he has daughters, but you look at some guys and you're like, oh, they have daughters. So like they get it. They get that is bad. They could not imagine that happening to their own child. And then you see other gentlemen who do have daughters and they still go out and act the way they do. And it's just horrific.
Well, and again, circling all the way back to Deshaun Watson, that's one of the reasons I don't know how an NFL team can hire him as a player and especially as a quarterback, because your season ticket holders have daughters, your owners have daughters, your fans have daughters. The women as a fan base, they're half, if not more, of your fan base and season ticket holders. So how do you do that? I don't think you can. So we have not yet introduced, and now that he is on screen, and by the way, if you're new to the show, we stream live video on multiple platforms, AM 1300 The Zone and Ticket 760's Facebook pages. There is also a YouTube stream, same stream, but it goes out over YouTube. We even talked about Twitch. We don't do that yet, but that might be coming.
I actually managed to get it up today.
So we're on Twitch right now?
Yeah.
You're unbelievable.
We did it.
That's right, baby. We're on Twitch.
Come on, gamers.
We made the big time.
Jump on.
Come on, gamers. This is much more fun. Put the console down and let's talk sports.
There you go.
And now that we're on Twitch, though, this guy could be the next big Twitch superstar. Okay. People love him. He's known as the Boy Wonder. He is the pride of Oklahoma Christian University only because he turned down a scholarship to Oklahoma Satanic University. And I have no idea what T-shirt he's wearing this morning. Jeremy Fouts, let's unmute your mic for a moment. I want to make sure your adoring fans can hear you. What is happening, man?
Oh, nothing much. My holiday website is loading. Oh, here we go. Happy International Beaver Day.
International Beaver Day.
Insurance Day.
Health Insurance Day. I could use some help in that department.
Yeah.
No Housework Day. National No Housework Day.
That's like every day for me. You see where I live.
That changes my plans completely.
Metric System Day. I don't.
Yeah, I think either you're burying
everywhere else but the U.S.
Either you're burying the lead or you haven't come across it yet. I saw this one, but keep going.
Beer Day, yeah, National. I just.
How is that not at the top of the list?
I know. That's my God. We should be drinking right now.
I mean, we'll just, usually Thursday is kind of like the kickoff of the week, but we'll go ahead and take Wednesday today.
Oh hell yes! National Beer Day, World Health Day. Other than a big day at Oregon State, I'm a little worried about International Beaver Day. Coffee Cake Day. Thank you.
Always a good one.
The Oregon State Beavers. Yep.
You mentioned at the top of the show, and we're about to cut to break, so maybe we'll get into it on the other side. But you mentioned that you still have some hangover going on from the championship.
Yes.
Baylor's win, and I think some people up in Waco have that same feeling.
Oh God.
I'll cue you into what I know.
Ooh,
we come back.
I like it. A little tease. That's very good. Yeah. Some sooth on what's happening in Waco post championship. Well, Baylor's a Baptist school, and I'm sure there was
lots of prayer.
Lots of prayer and a lot of thanking the Lord. Yes, and maybe everybody went to church. It's Waco.
Mass on Sundays.
I think you. Yeah.
Or Wednesdays.
They'll do a mass anytime people want to show up and put some money. Yeah, my mom used to do this thing.
That's hollow bowl around.
Yeah. My mom used to, and only because she's 97, but she used to. It was called perpetual adoration. Catholics will know what this is, where somebody is in the church at all times. It's like someone must be in the church, and it's cool praying at all times. So she would have a shift. So she would be like Wednesday mornings from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. So she'd be in the church And then sometimes, and my mom is so devoted, sometimes her replacement wouldn't show up at 9 o'clock. So she'd just stay there till somebody showed up, till noon.
Then I know what she's praying for.
Yeah. I'm praying somebody shows up here so I can go home and get some lunch. Quick break on it's not International Beer Day, so international viewers, Taro Kotani, Ophalin, Paul George in Australia, you can't have beer, but in America we can. It's National Beer Day. Jeremy Fouts is your soundscape stylist. She is Shannon Salty Sweeney. 8 o'clock this morning, Bill Schoening, former voice of the Longhorns, now 20-year voice of the San Antonio Spurs. He'll join us, see how he feels about the Baylor Bears and more. Stick around. Thanks for hanging. It's the Chris Duel Show. And after our conversation about getting out on time yesterday, I get us out at 26:30. So much for that. Alan Green, welcome. Ralph Balderas. Jared Taylor. All right. Is my coffee still hot? Thank you, Louisa, for the beer emojis. Cheesecake Factory Day, according to John Williams, Alan Green. Jesse Bratton, good morning. Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein, you bring him up, Wes. Yeah, there was a lot of and if you've seen the documentary or if you know the history, you know, he had that private island where there was a lot of sex trafficking going on. And good old Bill Clinton flew to that private island a few times. Now, again, no actual proof, but a little scary. Oh, I didn't get into his shirt. You're right. Louisa, I was so taken by National Beer Day and the fact that I was running late. So we will get to the bottom of Jeremy's shirt. All right. I'm getting coffee. I'll be right back. God knows I need caffeine. John Williams, happy birthday to the internet. And Alan Green says we can all thank Al Gore for that one. Man, Al Gore never lived that down. Here we are, 2021, and he gets it for that. I still don't have a poll question. It's not a great one, but all the poll questions can't be great. This one's going to be, do I have time? I'll give it a shot. Whoops. Just. Come on, computer. I did not see the introduction, Wes. And that was yesterday, right? I did see you guys posting about him yesterday. Mark Adams. Here we go. Yes. It's what I needed. Little Prince in the morning. Little Raspberry Beret. Jeremy Fouts, your soundscape stylist. A little bit later, perhaps in this segment, hopefully in this segment, we will explore his t-shirt. What does it mean and what is the hidden meaning in his t-shirt? You can check it out on Facebook Live and on Twitch, apparently. And I think Shannon already, Jeremy, is a Twitch sensation. I think Twitch, I don't know this for sure. I just assume Twitch is going wild over Jeremy Fouts this morning.
Oh, wonderful. Yes. Well, Jeremy, if you're on Twitch, we can like and follow each other. I guess that's how it works. I don't know. I'm very new.
I gotta get on Twitch. That's
Got
my
a
next
Twitch
thing.
Can I get? Can someone please put a poggers in the a pog champ in the Twitch chat? I need at least one today,
Huh?
so I can go home. Yeah, a little emote. It's a little face, like a little pog champ.
We have a learning curve.
Yeah,
A pog champ or chant? What is it?
champ. Like
Champ.
So you type colon POG champ
Okay.
colon
POG champ.
and that should
And that'll
give
get me
you
that emoji?
what you're looking for. Yeah, it's a little emoji. I need at least one.
You are freaking me out, but
Yeah.
POG champ.
That's on Twitch. I don't know if it translates to any other.
I tried to do it on Google search. And,
What is a raid? It
A
had a
raid?
filters to be like, do you want to allow raids on your stream? And I don't know what that's good or bad. So I just left it.
think now I'm not a Twitch
Does that
aficionado,
cause trouble.
but I
will be
think
by the
that
end of the day.
that someone can like link your stream, like someone else can link their stream on your stream on their stream, and their viewers can come and raid your stream.
Oh, so we could like double up or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So we want to be rated, in other words,
Or we want to be
as opposed to like in college when you're having a party, you don't want to be rated.
Right.
But on Twitch, you do want to be rated. You want people to raid your stream.
Very true. Yes.
Okay, I just
You're learning.
according to Wikipedia, PogChamp was an emote used on the streaming platform Twitch intended to express excitement, joy, or shock. The image used to show the streamer Ryan Gutierrez with a surprised or shocked expression.
Yes.
Wow.
That's him. I can see it. It's beautiful.
Wow. Okay.
I'll be waiting for the PogChamp. Well, speaking of rating,
Yes.
Waco was rated by all of their fans following that national championship win. A lot of students ended up watching the game in McLean Stadium.
Nice.
To then raid the field following that win. But of course, eventually they have to shut the stadium down. They got to turn the lights off. They got to everything. So they took to the streets for some casual couch burning in Waco. Because nothing says Waco, Texas, and Baylor Bears like some couch burning.
They burned couches.
What I love most about this story is that there were already police and the fire department at the ready, just kind of waiting around the corner. So they allowed all this to happen. They were just there in case something too crazy went down. And I haven't seen anything crazy, like they had to arrest people or whatever. They were just there to burn the like water the couches after they lit on fire. And I know people are constantly like, act like you've been there before. Well, Baylor's never been there before.
Good point.
Let
Good point.
Let them have it. No, I haven't seen anything of mass destruction. So
Good.
But congratulations again to Baylor. I'm sure they were still burning couches when we were on air yesterday morning talking about the championship. So I'm sure like you today, they are just now kind of letting it sink in. Basketball season is over. We can still be excited about their win. They're probably buying their championship T-shirts right now.
And going to church.
Banners.
Headed to church this morning because it's a big.
Get rid of their hangover.
Yes. Now, I am proud of this, Shannon, in San Antonio. And even the first time we were there in 1999, we had not been there before. But San Antonio, when the Spurs win the title, it's been 5 times now. The city parties safely. There's no trash cans being thrown through glass windows at downtown. There's no couch burning. There's no cars tipped over. It's but even in 99 when we did it right, and there was none of the. So we always tend to, And maybe it's because we do Fiesta every April and we know how to party in this town. But so I've always, whenever I see another city win an NBA championship or any championship, just like Waco, when you're burning couches, that's just ridiculous. Don't do that.
And when I think of burning things, I think of like when your team loses or a guy like LeBron leaves.
Yeah.
So I don't quite understand why, or like, wasn't it Ohio State who was burning mattresses?
I vaguely remember something. Yeah.
But I don't get the burning. And they were also shooting off legit fireworks, like just people in the street shooting off fireworks.
Now that's okay. Now that's illegal, but that's,
as long as no one's getting hurt.
Yeah.
It's fine, I guess.
Yeah, don't shoot your gun into the air, especially in an urban area. That's not cool. I know that.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Can you imagine if Texas Tech ever wins a national championship? That whole guns up. Are they going? I mean, I'll bet you. And it's Lubbock. Somebody's going to be firing guns into the air.
Yeah.
So our Texas Tech friends yesterday, and some of them are on Facebook Live with us right now, Shannon, as you know, Wes Perkins and Clint Proctor, probably our two biggest resident Texas Tech Red Raider fans. They introduced their new head men's basketball coach, Mark Adams, yesterday. I'm not, and God love him, and I'm looking at him, and I haven't heard the press conference, so maybe it was emotional and inspiring, but I'm just not feeling the sizzle or anywhere near the sizzle from Mark Adams that I did from Chris Beard.
I think part of the sizzle that Tech fans are getting is because there was rumor that Chris Beard was trying to get Mark Adams to come with him, right? He's already got Chris Ogden of UTSA head coach now coming to coach under him at Texas. Yesterday, UTEP head coach is heading up this way. And a top elite assistant, a coach from KU heading this way. So for the most part, Chris Beard has gotten everyone he wanted, except his former defensive guru out in Tech, who has said no, he'll stay and become the head coach there at Texas Tech.
And looking at his bio, he is a 1979 Texas Tech graduate, Mark Adams. So if you want a guy to stick around, that might do it. Yeah.
For real this time.
Yeah. So we're getting a phone call. We love phone calls. And I don't throw the phone number out there nearly enough. My bad. I'll work on that. 800-707-9760. It is AD calling in. Hey, AD, what is going on?
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Top of the morning to you. It's time for your Spanish lesson.
Time for yes, because one day, Shannon, we will do the entire show in Espanol. So
very quiet show.
And AD is helping us out. So what do you got for me?
I'm thinking about it, Shannon. I'm thinking about the format. Don't worry. We'll get it done. What else do you ask, Shannon?
Buenos tardes.
So
yeah. And by the way, AD,
we're having a conversation.
When we do the show in Spanish, AD, you're gonna be on the show, AD, since you're our tutor.
You'll have a script, and that's what I'll talk to Chris about it later. But okay, here we go. So I messaged you yesterday that Baylor took the national championship. So they won. Ready, Chris?
Yes.
They won el campeonato.
Oh my God! I can't. Slowly on that one. One more time.
El campeonato.
El campeonato. El campeonato.
De baloncesto.
Baloncesto. El campeonato de baloncesto. How was that? Nacional. Ooh, so they are the national basketball champions?
Yes, sir.
Very nice, AD. I like that.
So I was thinking, Shannon, I mean, Texas should feel a lot better about themselves, having lost to a team that was, like a crazy shot away from going to the final.
Why is that?
Well, because they lost to UCLA. Remember, it was like everybody was upset that, oh my God, they lost to UCLA. Well, look what UCLA did.
Yeah, but Texas.
We never played UCLA though because we didn't make it past Abilene Christian. Abilene Christian lost to UCLA. Is that what you're saying?
Oh,
we would have lost anyway.
Right. We lost to Abilene Christian. Well, man, I was like, oh, that's right. Now, coming to think of it, I guess I'm thinking of the girls, right? Sorry.
You're bringing me
Well,
down, AD. You're
well,
bringing
no.
me down.
By extension, though, Texas can say, "Hey, man, we lost to Abilene Christian, but they lost to UCLA, and look how far UCLA got." So, no, not exactly.
Aggie logic right there.
I know.
You got me on that one. Well, I just thought that the national championship game was anticlimactic, but it shows that people totally underestimated this Baylor team, and you cannot say they overhyped Gonzaga. Gonzaga had a heck of a season. We're looking forward to the baseball season, and the NFL is crazy. Again, Deshaun's situation is really troubling. But man, it's so nice to call in and talk to you guys. I told Jeremy why I was able to call in this morning, but nice talking to you guys.
Thanks, AD.
Thanks so much.
AD is the executive producer of our future show entirely in Spanish. It'll be either on Cinco de Mayo. I don't think we can be ready by this Cinco de Mayo.
I'm not going to be graded, am I? Because that Spanish for me never went over well.
Well, and the irony here is for people just tuning in, I in high school, I took 2 years of Spanish, and in college, I took 2. So 4 years, and I suck at it, and I'm embarrassed. I live in
a total of 6 years.
Yeah, and someone, whoever teaches Spanish to high school and college kids, there's got to be a better way. And we've talked before, like immersion is probably the way to do it. Mm-hmm. Go live somewhere and be forced to speak Spanish for a month as your final exam or something like that. But yeah, I'm embarrassed. I want to learn it so bad, so thank you, AD. We're working on it. There's that. All right, it is time, ladies and gentlemen. He is on camera. The boy wonder, the latest sensation on Twitch. Jeremy Fouts, you got to help me out with your T-shirt. What's it mean? What's the hidden meaning? What inspired you to reach into the closet and pull that one out this morning?
So this shirt, this funky shirt, is from a rhythm game I've been playing called Friday Night Funkin'. And you play as this little fella, the boyfriend.
The boyfriend.
And you have to beatbox against the girlfriend's friends and family to prove that you are a worthy mate.
So you're beatboxing in this game.
Yes, and you, the player, have to keep to the rhythm of the song. And if you don't, he will be flustered and you will lose points.
Now, are you legitimately beatboxing?
Not me, sadly. You just press keys on the keyboard.
I wanted you to lay down a beat.
I know. Well, I'm not that good, but
and Shannon, that was my thought exactly. You can't come on the show saying you're beatboxing on while gaming and then not beatbox on the radio.
My apologies. The boyfriend is beatboxing. I'm just pressing the buttons that's giving him the confidence to beatbox. But yeah, that's what the shirt is.
Wow,
it's very funky.
What is the name of the game again?
It's Friday Night Funkin'. And I will admit, I have played it in this very building, in this very room.
Working real hard.
Yeah. Just every now and then I got to lay down a few beats.
Yeah, it's like when Brian Gann, the boss man, goes, why is there dead air going out? Right? Because he's
Brian, I'm
playing
funkin'.
games.
I'm Friday Night Funkin', okay? Can you give me a little bit? I got to help the boyfriend out.
These all sound like bad words to me.
I know. Yeah, these are words you need to enunciate on the radio.
With an N. Funkin'.
Yes. Thank you.
There you go. There's your explanation.
Wow.
Funky shirt.
And you like the game so much. How did you get the shirt? I obviously ordered it online. I guess you don't see that at the local Target store.
Yeah, they have official merch on sharkrobot.com. If I have inspired you to go and play Friday Night Funkin', you can get your own shirt and we can match.
Sharkrobot.com. Your identity has been used probably umpteen million times by this point this morning.
Sharkrobot.com.
I'd check on that.
Yeah.
By the way, on Facebook, Laura Burris says the game you're referring to, Jeremy, sounds like a future Taylor Swift song.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Wow. We don't play a lot of
that went place I didn't think it goes.
I know. What is your position on Taylor Swift, Shannon, at being hip to music as you are? You like her?
I'm not obsessed with her.
All right.
She's fine.
But you don't dislike her.
I like country Taylor better than pop Taylor, but whatever. It's fine.
Right.
Indifferent.
Yeah, I'm. There's a documentary about her on Netflix. Was it good? I'm gonna sample it.
Sure.
Because she's such a big deal, I should know more about her.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not gonna pay to see her.
All right. I do know her parents named her after James Taylor. Because James Taylor once performed with her, and she told him that. Or maybe she was a lion.
Yeah.
I don't know. Quick break. Lots more coming up. NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, and more. She is Shannon Salty Sweeney. He is Twitch sensation Jeremy Fouts. I'm Chris. You're listening to the Chris Duel Show. All right. AD, great phone call, sir. Thanks for calling in.
We've got a Twitch viewer.
We got a Twitch viewer. Outstanding. Can you read the screen name of the viewer? This will be the answer to a trivia question.
Yeah. FTOKR. They're glamours and violets _TV.
Wow. I didn't know it would be that complicated. Funny.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was dog 789 or something, I could repeat it.
I don't get how people like my username is just my name, like it is on all my social stuff. Well, we got to complicate it.
Right. Well, and it's like whenever there's a new platform, like what's the one somebody sent me the other day? Clubhouse. Are you doing Clubhouse yet?
I don't know.
Clubhouse it's like apparently there's some big people. It's like an audio chat thing where and it's different categories and you can chat. So my guess is,
don't we talk enough?
Exactly, we do. But my guess it's for like people who are like into podcasts. So it's now like it's podcasts you can participate in. There's like I've seen like comedians like George Lopez, and there's like entertainers like singers on it and news people. Van Jones, who is on CNN a lot, is on it. So I still don't fully get it, but just like when I first got Twitter, when I first got Instagram, if I can't get my name, if I can't get at Chris Duel, if that's taken, it's like I don't want to be on it. It's like because I don't want to have to be radio dude from Sotex. I want to just be my name.
Right.
Steve Duraco, good morning. Steve Duraco, founding member of the San Antonio Polar Bear Club, who went into the water yesterday. Even though the air temperature was 88 degrees, the water temperature was below freezing, which is scientifically impossible. But he still went in. All right. Woo! I see your Twitch tweet. Friday Night Funkin' from Jeremy Fouts. All right, everybody, there's Jeremy posted the link so we can all go Friday Night Funkin'. Yeah, words like funk on the radio always worry me. I always do my best to enunciate.
What's the someone tweeted during like the first 10 minutes of the Baylor game that Baylor was beating the shiplap out of Gonzaga.
Funny.
I laughed so hard, and I kept thinking of that yesterday, but I was like, I don't want to mince my words there. I don't want to accidentally
walk it through very slowly. Thank you, Jared Taylor. on the Mike Taylor show. You've probably heard it, Shannon. They've got a drop of me. I was quoting Nina Thomas, Earl Thomas's wife, when she busted into the bed and breakfast, and Earl and his brother were in bed with two other ladies with the gun. And I'm reading from a news story, and I've got something for you, hoes. So it's my official Mike Taylor show drop.
I've heard it once or twice.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 times.
Yep. People like it. Jared Taylor likes it. So did you see Aaron Rodgers' performance number 2 yesterday on Jeopardy?
I did not. I was attempting to take a nap. It didn't go over well because I've got my new water bottle buddy, and I just had to pee every 20 minutes. So I should have just suffered through Aaron Rodgers. And then now he's saying he does want to be the host.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I only have like 176 days a year that I play football. So I have all these number of days open, and then they only record 46 days out of the year.
So we need to talk about that again, and that specifically, because the more I think about it, Drew Brees is beloved. People love him. Tony Romo had a personality. People love him. Tom Brady, polarizing. People love him. People hate him. But
he has a personality, though.
Yeah, I do not get how Aaron Rodgers could possibly pull it off.
And like my dog, that Aaron Rodgers State Farm commercial where he's playing fetch with his dog.
Yeah.
She now barks at dogs because of that commercial. Like they're on TV, not in real life, but on TV.
Wow.
Anytime she hears the State Farm bell, like the jingle that plays, even though it's no longer that Aaron Rodgers commercial, we have to turn around and we have to bark and we have to pay attention. We have to watch TV. That dog might appear.
That's funny.
I think that was my like first TikTok too. I was like, I got a TikTok video. It was just her watching that commercial.
Good night, Jared Taylor.
Good night, sir. Thanks for joining us. Catch the back half of the show on the podcast.
Yes. President Dinosaur. Oh, this is Jeremy. I forgot they changed the PogChamp from the original guy. It doesn't hit the same anymore. Louisa did not care for Aaron Rodgers on Jeopardy. He did all right, but was kind of boring. Somebody said there's a guy on MSNBC named Steve Kornacki who does like the polling, and on election night he's adding up. He's kind of a nerd, but he's entertaining. You know where he looks like a professor, wears glasses, always wears khakis and a white shirt, and he's got his sleeves rolled up, and he's like totally into election returns and predicting how many votes are left in this precinct in Florida. Somebody, in fact, I think it was the Dan Patrick show yesterday. They were talking about different people who are going to try out. I think Steve Kornacki is one of them. He's got personality and he's very likable. I think he'd be good.
Yeah, I've seen his name thrown around.
And I heard Neil Patrick Harris as a name.
Oh, yeah. We love him.
I think he'd be good.
But that show may like hold him back too much.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd have to make it his, and whoever does it needs to do it like them and don't try to be Alex Trebek because you can't. So yeah, if you've got
they'll never bounce back if they try to do that.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got a personality, you should showcase it and make it your own. Although there might be pushback if producers are trying to reel him in. And here's a story. LeVar Burton is another, apparently fans, there's a movement to make LeVar Burton the Jeopardy host. Quest Love would be interesting too, Sam Tobias. And yes, LeVar Burton was originally Kunta Kinte on Roots. And what was his character name on Star Trek with the eye apparatus? Geordi? Star Trek The Next Generation? That's right. I'm reading from the sports page. I still read newspapers. Here we go. Hour number 2. Thank you, Wes Perkins. Geordie LaForge, you must be a Trekkie.
Now, Chris Duel.
You made it to Wednesday. We made it to Wednesday. Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, and Jeremy Fouts, the latest Twitch sensation, made it to Wednesday. Welcome to the Chris Duel Show, along with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. During the break, talking about the latest from Aaron Rodgers and his quest to become the permanent host of Jeopardy. We will get into that. But Shannon, breaking news, as you told me just minutes ago, we now have our first Twitch viewer. It's a big day. We're going to have to remember April 7th, 2021, when we explode on Twitch, led by the raid of followers from Jeremy Fouts. We'll always remember our first Twitch viewer.
A moment we'll cherish and
Woo!
remember forever.
Woo!
Not that I could read the username handle. It's just kind of a bunch of letters.
Yeah,
squished together.
I don't understand people who, and I always assume like on Facebook, you'll get a friend request from, Cindy Party 4698784. It's like, really?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
It's like on Twitter with the people who still have like little egghead as their profile picture and just like user million numbers.
Exactly. How can you have a Twitter account or an anything account and not have a profile pic?
Like there are people that like, I'm on Twitter, but I don't use it. Like I don't tweet, I just follow. And I'm like, okay, but still maybe take the time to adjust the two things on there that take 30 seconds apiece.
Yes.
Make you look legit. Because Twitter will also deactivate you if you keep it that way and aren't active on Twitter.
As they should.
They go through and they purge quite often.
Well, and not to out him when he's not here to defend himself, but I think he'll be back here tomorrow and he can defend him. Like after the show yesterday, we had a little online meeting and Dave Ayler was in here and you said to Dave, hey, you can like pull the sound from that sporting thing we were talking about. Just go to Twitter and pull it. And you go, oh, I don't have Twitter. Well, but you can get an account and you can, I don't. And then we was, use the Ticket 760 account. Well, no, I don't have admin. Well, we'll set it up. And it's like, he's got an aversion to Twitter.
If we're gonna work in sports media,
yes,
media in general,
well,
you gotta be on the platform.
And if you're going to be an informed citizen, it's I mean, especially throughout the Trump administration, if you wanted to know the latest the president was thinking about or sounding off about.
I don't really watch the evening news anymore because it's just a repeat of everything I've seen throughout the day.
True. Yeah. Well, and that's one of the coolest things about Twitter for me is you can do categories. I mean, I've got one that is, I've got football, I've got college football, I've got baseball, I've got politics, I've got science. So you just click on that and it's everybody you're following who matters in that universe. Jeremy Fouts, what is your position on Twitter? Are you we know you are at SATX Foxy Grandpa, which is another weird name, sir. But
it's not a bunch of numbers.
Yeah, and at least you're on Twitter, unlike Dave.
I can understand Dave's aversion to Twitter, given how toxic it can be, but I agree. I think he's trying a little too hard to not be on Twitter.
Yeah.
And when it comes for the sake of the show, I think you got to sacrifice your aversion
Yes.
to
Yes.
to get the Crystal show running. And that is what I was willing to do.
Thank you,
and
sir.
did.
We're all sacrificing. Did you think I wanted to get a TikTok? Did you think that I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I would love. I just feel like my horrible dancing needs to, like, the world needs to see this.
Well, and
Let's put it out there.
you are quite active on creating TikTok videos, though. TikTok is kind of your thing, I think.
I try. You know, we just mentioned Aaron Rodgers. I posted the little video I took when I was watching it of him getting that kind of burn question, the who decided to kick the field goal, and I posted that to the Zone's TikTok,
Sweet.
and it has since blown up. I think we're up to almost 60,000 views on.
Oh
that
my
one.
God! Wow.
This morning. So
That's amazing.
You never know. Every now and then you get a couple hundred, and then all of a sudden you get a couple thousand.
That is so cool. Another guy, and maybe we'll ask him about it later in the week. Coach A, Paul Alexander, who is prolific on Facebook,
Yeah, I don't
And-
do
and now he does these videos. He does these radically rational videos, but he doesn't do Twitter. He stays off of Twitter. I don't get it. Okay.
Facebook for me, because I know I get a lot of listeners who friend me, and thank you, but I'm going to politely decline because I share work stuff on there, but it's just repeat of what's already on Ticket and Zone, and then I just get tagged in family photos that are not flattering. So I don't. I'm not, and I don't use it anyway. So it's not like if you are friends with me, you're gonna see anything you can't already see.
So there's that.
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, now Twitch, all those. Let's do it. Let's be friends. But Facebook, I don't use it.
Yeah, and I was mentioning off air, the latest, someone sent me an invite to Clubhouse. Apparently that's a thing now. And Clubhouse apparently is audio, people talking.
Roundtables.
Yeah, roundtables on whatever, on music, on rock and roll, on sports, on the national championship. Are you
Sounds
hip?
like something for people who like to argue?
Yeah. And my only guess, and I've seen recognizable celebrities on it, my only guess is that they're doing something thinking it's like a podcast, but it's interactive.
Yeah.
So in other words, if you wanted a podcast on sports and the upcoming NFL draft, here's some experts talking about it, but I can jump in and talk with them. That's my guess. And I still don't fully you're very hip, Jeremy Fouts. Are you hip to Clubhouse yet?
I have never heard of that, but that does not sound fun.
Maybe somebody was just messing with me. Hey, Chris, here's an invite to Clubhouse.
Yeah. Well, they're like, you talk a lot.
Yeah.
Talk some more.
Yeah. Well, no, and that's the other thing, Shannon. I swear to God, we'll talk about the Astros and Aaron Rodgers and the Spurs. And when you work with someone, and I don't want to mention any names, Michael Bartlett, but when you've talked sports for 3 hours, it's like we're on the radio for 3 hours talking sports, and Michael will like walk out into the parking lot with me to the car and want to talk sports. And it's like, Michael, we were just talking sports for 3 hours. I'm getting in the car and I'm going to go get some Whataburger, and I don't want to talk sports for like the next 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
it's like, no, so yeah, and that's the same thing. Hey, you talk nonstop for 3 hours, get on Clubhouse and talk for another 6. No, I don't want to.
My favorite is like friends and family. How was the show today? What'd you talk about? I'm like, I don't know. Why don't you go check out the podcast?
Yeah, tune in.
How about that?
We talk about everything. Stream of
And I
consciousness.
we're still COVID time, so like I come to work and I go home and I live alone and I have my dog, so like I really don't even talk to anybody else the rest of the day. On that, I love it because I like my alone time and I like to live in silence a little bit. But yeah, Clubhouse doesn't seem like that'd be my
No.
new to go to.
Silence is important at times and regularly, and unplugging. Yeah, we're all so. I think that's one of the biggest problems in this society. We're so plugged in. People are looking at their phones 24/7. And I'm guilty of this too. I think you need to regularly unplug and just chill and revitalize and re-energize your mind and your brain and your body. All right, enough of that. Back to Aaron Rodgers. We were talking off the air, and apparently Aaron Rodgers, we talked about him yesterday when you and Dave had seen his Jeopardy debut. Day 2 was yesterday, and we are now hearing Aaron Rodgers wants it. He wants the full-time gig. This is not a lark. This is not just a one. He's actually thinking about how he would be able to work this out with his schedule.
You know, he said it before, and I think that's kind of what got him into the position he is now, where he's kind of guest hosting for the next 2 weeks, that he had always dreamed of hosting Jeopardy. And he did his little post Jeopardy, analyst point of view with him and fiance Shailene Woodley. And he said, I'd view this opportunity as almost like a job interview, and I'm taking it seriously. And he mentioned he only practices and does football for like 170 something days a year. Well, Jeopardy only films for 46 days a year. So there'd be plenty of time to get it all in and do it all and be able to continue to play football and be the full-time host for Jeopardy. I still question his lack of personality and personal ability to just have that little bit of small talk that is all you need for Jeopardy. But I think that's part of what people liked Alex Trebek so much for, were those tiny moments that he made those people feel so special. Because when you're on Jeopardy, like, that is your moment to shine more so than answering the questions or whatever.
Yeah.
Giving the question, whatever you want to say, was those little fun facts. And then to get to talk, because for some of them, that's also the only interaction they got with him. And if you're just Aaron Rodgers there, who's like, where should I go to Canada? Okay. I don't know. Look at a map. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and I was just thinking of other contemporary quarterbacks. You know, Drew Brees, we love him. He's got a personality. He's going to have a career in the broadcast booth. Tony Romo, whatever you thought of him as a quarterback, interception in the key moment, but but you loved him, and my God, he may be the best ever now.
And he does great on those Corona commercials.
Oh, he sure does. Tom Brady is polarizing, but I think he can communicate.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers,
self-deprecating too. I've never seen Aaron Rodgers poke fun at himself. He always kind of finds a way to defend himself, even when he doesn't actually need to defend himself. He just kind of can't take a joke. And I think there's a reason why State Farm is like, okay, Aaron Rodgers, you're still Mr. Discount, double checked, whatever, but we're also going to bring in Pat Mahomes because he's a little more lively.
True. And you needed that new, the character of the agent who's out there when he's golfing or throwing the ball with the dog. So, and my God, Peyton Manning. I mean, so many of these other quarterbacks, either from now or recently, have so much more personality than Aaron. I just find it weird that he kind of emerged as the jock who's getting a shot at this gig.
And the guy who, again, like just doesn't communicate with his family, has never been one for the spotlight, yet dates all of these, kind of high profile women. And I don't know, it's almost, I know he's in the later half of his career, but you do get even more of the sense that he is planning for that future and what that future might be. I never thought it would be hosting a TV show.
Yeah. But again,
a regular daily TV show program that people hold near and dear and, make time to out of their day to watch and play along with.
Yeah. Well, and the more I think about that show and you look at Alex Trebek, and obviously you're never going to replace Alex Trebek. And you and I were talking off the air, Shannon, whoever gets the gig needs to be themselves and not try to be Alex Trebek. So if you have personality quirks or something that makes you likable or special, you should probably accentuate that and go with that. But I also think someone should be kind of known for their intellect. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is known for his intellect. Like Neil Patrick Harris is a guy who's being talked about as a possibility. He seems like a smart, sharp dude. So I could see that. LeVar Burton is a name being tossed out there. I can see that.
Yes.
And
like Aaron's like pockets under collapse. He's quick. He can roll out. He can dish it down the field. In a conversational manner, though, on live TV, where people don't want to have to go back and edit everything, I don't see him talking his way out of things.
No.
I see that being, all right, cut, redo, whatever, where you mentioned Neil Patrick Harris, and that man does it all.
Yeah. So, all right, if you could right now, Shannon, Jeopardy calls you up and says, all right, we need to pick a new host of Jeopardy right now. Of all these names, of all the possibilities, you're going to pick it. You're going to make the final decision. Shannon Salty Sweeney, who would be the next full-time host of Jeopardy?
I really do like your Neil Patrick Harris thing. My only concern would be he does a lot.
Yeah.
And I know it's only 46 days out of the year, but those 46 days are long days because they shoot multiple episodes. But I do really like that one.
Yeah.
I play Jeopardy at home on my smart speaker every day.
Really?
Boy, it still has Alex's voice, which is a little crushing on the heartstrings there to hear.
I imagine.
Let's Play Jeopardy, but I don't know. I wouldn't mind having Neil Patrick Harris on my speakers at home once a day.
When you play Jeopardy at home on the smart device, do you have to put things into a question?
You do, yeah.
What is Texas Stadium? So, yeah.
And a lot of times, I don't know if it's the placement of my speaker, but I'm like yelling at it. Like I'm mad. I already said this.
Oh, you can't yell at Alex Trebek.
Well,
the late, great Alex Trebek.
And then it's like the automated.
Okay.
Actually doing the questions.
Okay, that's good. I feel better that you weren't yelling at Alex Trebek.
No, I would never.
One other guy, if you're a TV political junkie whose name is being, I would go with you on Neil Patrick Harris. There's a guy named Steve Kornacki on MSNBC who always, whenever there's an election night, he's in front of the big board calculating how many votes are left in this precinct in Florida, and he loves it. It's like his bliss. He's a total nerd, and he looks like a nerd, and he's known for wearing his khaki pants and rolling up his sleeves and really getting into it. But very likable. He's infinitely likable. And yet he seems like a brilliant guy who really has the intellect. I think I've heard someone mention, and I think he's going to get a week. I think I heard Steve Kornacki's going to get a week or two or whatever the audition period is. I think he would be he's a guy that I think a lot of people don't know him unless you're a political person. But I think he'd be good.
It seems like a natural person to go with.
Yes.
And to bring into that space. And because of where he's coming from, there's not like high expectation. Because again, if you bring in a guy like Neil Patrick Harris, I think you're expecting some sort of product. And the second someone doesn't get that, you're going to hear about it.
True. And Gordon Weedman on Facebook Live saying LeVar Burton should be. And I think LeVar would be like top 3 for me as well. I would, if LeVar Burton got the gig, I'd be okay with that too. That'd be good.
LeVar Burton.
Star Trek, Geordi. Apparently he does a thing called Reading Rainbow now, which I haven't seen. I'm guessing that's a kid's show.
The original Reading Rainbow?
Reading
Rainbow. That show used to annoy me because I don't like reading.
See, I know.
I don't want to read the actual book. Why would I watch TV about reading the book?
Yeah. Apparently, according to Laura Burris, he's on Reading Rainbow. He was in the original Roots. He played Kunta Kinte on Roots, and he played Geordi on Star Trek: The Next Generation. Oh, okay. And he's cool. And he has what Aaron Rodgers doesn't, in my opinion. He's got really good personality, and he seems like an intellectual guy. So I would buy him as the next Alex Trebek, whereas I'm not buying that on Aaron Rodgers.
I'd take him, Mr. Reading Rainbow, over Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Sure.
Watch Aaron Rodgers get it. Yeah, here we are with all these other people who would be better.
What a weird show today.
Yeah, I know. And I swear to God, we're going to talk sports. Did you know that Carlos Correa hit a 2-run homer in the 9th inning last night to beat the Angels 4-2? So take that, haters. I didn't see any inflatable trash cans thrown onto the field.
No. And they did like that with the inflatable. There was a real trash can that was also thrown.
Oh, really?
Which to me, it was a red trash can, so I'd have to think that they went up into like the concession area and then took it out and
tossed it.
Dunked it. Because I don't think you're getting into the stadium with that.
I wonder, and we're only 6 games into the 162 game schedule for Major League Baseball. But I wonder, and I imagine because different teams, different opponents on the road, whenever the Astros come to town, I got a feeling this is going to be a thing all season long. And on a certain level, I think it's firing up the Astros. I think it's like, fine, we'll show you. Here's a home run by Correa. We're walking off. Good night.
I'm not super into. I think the Astros need to lean into all of this and just have some fun with it. Like I don't know if baseball teams have like bands or whatever, because I know everyone's different. But almost like the Washington football team, how they have like a drum section, they should just have the cast of Stomp have their own section, just banging away on trash cans, doing beats in between, inning changes and pitching change, things of that nature.
I like it. Yeah. Own it
a little bit.
Lean into it, own it, welcome it, celebrate it. And as an Astros fan, I hope they just keep winning. I hope if fans keep trying to taunt them.
A lot, doesn't it?
In your face, haters. Okay, coming up, your salty shakedown for the morning. We'll tell you what happened on this day in sports history, sports birthdays, and more. And top of the next hour, just after 8 o'clock, Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs. And when we grab Bill, we talk about all kinds of things. We'll certainly get his thoughts on the national championship game.
I bet he watches Jeopardy from time to time.
Bill Schoening could be the next host of Jeopardy.
Ooh,
we'll
lose him as a Spurs.
Yeah, we can't. But maybe, I don't know, during the off season, he could film
only
those
46 days a year.
50 days. That's a great question. Who would Bill Schoening nominate as the next host of Jeopardy? We'll find out that as well. Crazy little thing called love. That is Jeremy Fouts styling the soundscape. Shannon Salty Sweeney warming up for that salty shakedown. We're with you till 9. Thanks for hanging out. It's the Chris Duel Show. Good morning, Anthony Del Toro. Good morning, Beth Settle. Chris Gonzalez. I also like Chadwick Boseman 1. Yeah, Astros 5-1, Anthony. That's a beautiful thing. Bill Nye. Bill Nye's not a bad idea. It's weird. Some people don't like Bill Nye for whatever. I think your anti-science people don't like Bill Nye. I like him. AD, I have not. AD says, have you seen Black Jeopardy on SNL? I have not. The Tom Hanks version is awesome. Now, Tom Hanks, if he didn't have that mega acting career, Tom Hanks wouldn't be bad. All right. I do believe it's coffee refill time. I'll be right back. Mask on, coffee cup in hand.
Seems like I have you all to myself right now, Twitch chat. I could say horrible things. Not Twitch chat, Facebook live chat. I guess Twitch chat, Facebook live chat, YouTube chat. Everyone is under my discretion. Oh man, that's loud. How's everybody doing today? We're talking sports, and we're talking apparently video games on my t-shirt. We're talking Spanish. Quite a crazy show today. I got like 3 hours of sleep last night. It sucks because I get like really tired like during the day, and then I go to bed, and then I can't sleep, and then it's a horrible repeating cycle. So if I look tired, it is because I am tired. Yeah, so there you go. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. On the Jeopardy thing, you know, if we could choose anybody, I think I would go with Chris Farley. Not because I think he would be a good host to host Jeopardy, but so we could bring him back from the dead, and then I would tell him not to do drugs anymore. That's who I think I would pick. Personally. That's just me. Who was the other guy on SNL that died? His like wife murdered him or something. What was his name? Dang it. He would be good too. If I could think of his name, I would bring him back as well and tell him to get a different wife. I can't remember his name. What was it? Let me look this up. Murdered. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Trefan, the father of my friend Matthew. Yes, Phil Hartman. That is correct. That's who you're talking about. Yep. Thank you. I appreciate that. In 1998, the year that I was born, while Hartman was sleeping, his wife shot and killed him, and then later committed suicide. Okay, so if he comes back, he wouldn't have to worry about dying again. That's a shame. He was really funny.
Yeah, Luisa, I did see that letter, note, tweet release from Chris Beard. We should probably read that. That's a good idea. That was, I thought that was smart for him to say, hey, I need you guys. We're going to do our part. We need you to fill up the arena and make it a thing. So yeah, we'll
Lisa, I did see that. I tweeted it out the second I got it. And there was also one from Vic Schaefer asking, his goal, I believe, is to sell 7,000 season tickets for the women's program next year.
So yeah, if there's time, Shannon, before the end of the show, if there's time before the top, we'll read it. If not, we'll do it maybe after 8:30. Because I think that's a smart move by Chris Beard and the university saying, we're trying to build something special here, but you guys need to help us out. Start filling up the place.
You guys want to change, you got to be a part of making the change.
Yeah, I thought it was a great message. All right. That's an iconic riff. The boss in the morning. Thank you, Bruce Springsteen. Thank you, Jeremy Fouts, your soundscape stylist. Had to give you a little bit of the chorus. Chris Duel show, along with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, at the midpoint of the week, Wednesday, April 7th. Spurs game night coming up a little bit later, not long from now, just after 8 o'clock. Top of the hour, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening. Spurs begin a 5-game road trip tonight in Denver against the Denver Nuggets. In fact, the first 2 games will be at Denver, and Denver's a very good team, and the Spurs have been kind of reeling lately during that 9-game homestand where they went 2-7, but the Spurs have been 12-7 on the road. So if they can continue to play well on the road, maybe they'll get well here beginning tonight against the Denver Nuggets. We'll get into that with Bill, and as Shannon has mentioned, who would Bill Schoening pick for the permanent host of Jeopardy? We'll get into that as well. And a little bit later in the show, and a shout out to Luisa Alanis on Facebook Live, where we stream live video. Also, it's streaming this morning on Twitch and YouTube. Chris Beard, the new head coach of the Texas Longhorns, released a statement directed at Longhorn fans and students and alums, and it was pretty cool. And Shannon immediately retweeted that yesterday, but we'll read that to you and we'll talk about it a little bit later in the show. Right now, though, let's go back in time a little bit later. In fact, in moments, it's the Salty Shakedown, but let's start first with this day in sports history. On this day in 1943, the NFL adopts the free substitution rule, and helmets were made mandatory. Before this day in 1943, you could play in the NFL without a helmet. Great idea. They also approved a new 10-game schedule for all teams. Woo! This day in 1963, it was the 27th Masters at Augusta. 23-year-old Jack Nicklaus won the first of his 6 green jackets with a 3-foot par putt on the final hole to finish 1 stroke ahead of Tony Lima. Nicklaus winning his first Masters on this day. On this day in 1970, the Milwaukee Brewers, they were formerly the Seattle Pilots. They played their first game in Milwaukee as the Brewers. They lost to the Angels 12-0. This day in 1977, it was the Toronto Blue Jays' first game, and they beat Chicago 9-5. Couple of no-hitters on this day. On this day in 1979, the Houston Astros pitcher Ken Forsch no-hit the Atlanta Braves 6-0. On this day in 1984, the Detroit Tigers' Jack Morris no-hit the Chicago White Sox 4-0. And this was a big day in sports in 2019. Retiring NBA legends Dirk Nowitzki of Dallas and Dwayne Wade of Miami played their final home games. They were both victories. On the same day, Magic Johnson sensationally quits as the Lakers' president of basketball operations.
I'm not going to be here.
Exactly. And the Houston Rockets convert an NBA record 27 3-point shots in a 149-113 win over Phoenix. It was a big day in the NBA on this day in 2019. You still miss Dirk Nowitzki, Shannon?
Every day.
What is he doing now? Do we know? Does he live in Dallas? Did he go back to Germany? What does he do?
I feel like he probably splits time, similar to Tony Parker.
There you go.
I'm just being Dirk.
Yeah.
You know?
He should be the host of Jeopardy. Dirk Nowitzki. I'm just saying.
What did you say the question was?
We can't understand you. All right. There you go. How about some sports birthdays? This day in 1959, Walter Camp, who is considered by many the father of American football when he started football at Yale, born in New Britain, Connecticut. Walter Camp died in 1925. Born on this day in 1873. Wow. Born on this day in 1873, Baseball Hall of Fame infielder and manager John McGraw led the New York Giants to the World Series and the championship in 1905, 1921, and 22. I like him because his name is mentioned in the movie Field of Dreams. John McGraw, born in Truxton, New York. He died in 1934. Born on this day in 1960, James Buster Douglas, who knocked out Mike Tyson once in a shocker to win the World Heavyweight Championship in 1990. Buster Douglas, born on this day in Columbus, Ohio. Two guys born on the same day, Rondé Barber and Tiki Barber, who would both play in the NFL because they're twins. They're born on the same day. Rondé was a cornerback with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tiki, a running back with the New York Giants. But Shannon, your marquee birthday of the day, born on this day in 1954, Heisman Trophy winner out of Pittsburgh, won the Super Bowl with the Cowboys in 1977, born in Rochester, Pennsylvania, the great Tony Dorsett. And I do believe Tony Dorsett, I think Pittsburgh, he won the Heisman and then won the Super Bowl the next year. One of the few people to have done that. Was pretty cool.
Man, where do you go from there?
I know, yeah. Tony Dorsett. Happy birthday, number 33. There you have it. Sports history, sports birthdays, and now fasten your seatbelts. Here it is, your daily salty shakedown.
Before we get into it, Chris has a suggestion saying Marshawn Lynch for new Jeopardy host. That would be interesting. Him giving answers and then receiving questions. Of course, he is famously known for not answering questions.
Yeah, he'll pull his baseball cap down and
fine. So I don't know how much he'd be into that, but I wouldn't mind watching him do like maybe one guest host show.
Sure.
I don't know about a 2-week run, but interesting. All right. It is, of course, Masters Week. We talked about it a little bit with Tanner Carlson yesterday. Well, yesterday evening was the famed Masters dinner, which, of course, is always hosted by the previous year's winner last year, being Dustin Johnson. Tiger Woods even tweeted beforehand saying he is sad he was going to miss it because he wanted to rack up the bill for Mr. Dustin Johnson. Now, before we get into Mr. Dustin Johnson's menu, I want to talk about his brother Austin, because his brother Austin is his caddy. So he too is a Masters champion because he caddied for Dustin throughout that championship run. And so he showed off his menu. And on it, he said for his hot app, it would be a Nature Valley granola bar, followed by gourmet hot dogs, a banana and peanut butter crackers, but he could only choose one. And it was BYOB on the dessert. So I hope he enjoyed his evening. A little sad that he didn't get to go along to his brother, because his brother had quite the menu. Now, keep in mind, they often try to do something kind of similar, like where they're from. Jordan Spieth did barbecue. I think Tiger Woods had kind of an odd mixture of, I want to say like there was some sushi or something, and so they get to pick their menu. And Tiger's won it a couple times, right? So I guess he has to switch it up at some point. But Mr. Dustin Johnson, hailing from South Carolina, went with pigs in a blanket, lobster and corn fritters, a house salad or Caesar salad, filet mignon or sea bass with mashed potatoes and seasonal vegetables, and for dessert, peach cobbler, apple pie and ice cream, and then 2 wine pairings that they're so fancy I can't even pronounce them, so I won't do that for you here. But it sounds like a pretty reasonable classic meal. The only part that I'm a little like pigs in a blanket and lobster corn fritters, I don't know about that, but I don't, seems on par. I'd be fine with a filet for dinner.
Pigs in a blanket. There you go.
I wonder if they did like the toothpicks in them.
I hope so.
Make them classy.
God, I haven't had pigs in a blanket in 20 years. You don't see that on a lot of menus at restaurants for some reason.
That's always an exciting feature. Just ahead of the Masters, of course, gets underway officially tomorrow. It's so exciting. It's a wonderful time of the year for golf fans. Haven't looked, I believe Dustin Johnson still leading the way to repeat. Jordan Spieth, though, after that win at Valero, has second best odds now. So good luck to all of those in the field, and go hook 'em orange, Mr. Jordan Spieth. All right, we talked a little Tom Brady earlier today, talking about his personality, but now let's talk about his business ventures, because eventually he will retire from the NFL. So what is he going to do? Well, one thing he could do is work on his brand new company that he announced. It's an NFT company, a non-fungible token. I think the world is still trying to wrap their brains around what exactly that is. But he, along with his partners, have created the platform called Autograph. and they're looking to bring in some of the biggest names in sports, entertainment, fashion, and pop culture to work with creators in developing unique collectibles. They'll also feature some actual interactive offerings like auctions and physical products drops, and even personal meet and greets, things of that nature. Good for Tom Brady for getting into this space. He's obviously a guy who knows what to do with his money and has seen the growth, right? I believe his rookie card just sold for like an equivalent of $2.5 million
Yeah.
in NFTs. I'm one of those. I never got Bitcoin, and so I certainly don't understand the NFTs. But we've seen this just kind of boom recently. I saw over the weekend they were talking about virtual gaming cards, almost like trading cards, except instead of the picture of a player, it was a highlight of the player. And someone mentioned, well, Michael Jordan hasn't released his likeness for this, so he's not even available as, getting one of his great shots as a I'm like, why is it all why would you want that? Like, if I get an autograph, I want it to be hung and shown somewhere. Like, I want to touch it. I want to be able to see it, not go back on my computer and be like, look, because I don't know. Stealing images is pretty easy when you think about it.
True.
It doesn't feel authentic to me. So I just still don't get it. But, are you into it? Have you looked into it? I mean, are you thinking of getting in on any, ground zero NFT?
I still an NFT non-fungible token.
That sounds like a made-up word.
I know. Whenever they came up with that, could they have come up with something other than fungible? That's just so weird. I still, and like you, I haven't gotten Bitcoin yet, although people who got Bitcoin early made a lot of money. That it sure did appreciate in value. I don't fully understand non-fungible tokens, so maybe someday I will, but I'm clueless. Let me check with Jeremy, is our resident hipster. NFT, non-fungible token. Are you hip to that at all?
I know what they are, but they're definitely not my thing. It seems like you're paying for like an image, from what I can tell, at least from what I've seen.
Okay.
Not my thing. I'm not hip to that.
Just even pictures I take now on my phone that I then load and back up on my computer. I don't then go to my computer and sit there and look at them. So I know people are like trading art and things on there, but it's virtual. So what am I going to do when next time I have a dinner party? Just like cast it onto my TV and be like, look what I paid way too much money for. And they're like, when are you going to get it? I'm like, this is it. It's here. It's right there. Look at it. I can even move it up to my show in my bedroom and have it by my table side. I can move it up to my guest room TV if you want. I mean, it can go anywhere in the house as long as it has a screen to be on. I just don't understand. All right, finally, my final story, and I never thought I would say this. I became aware of this thanks to the Twitter handle of one Coyote Spur. Is that his name?
The Spurs Coyote.
Yes.
Wow.
There is a video.
I didn't know you follow the Spurs Coyote. That's cool.
I don't, but apparently Twitter thinks my interest lies in the Spurs these days, because I was shown on my For You that I might be interested in that. And sure enough, I clicked on the video, and it's a video making me aware to the catch-up crisis we are currently experiencing as a nation. Thanks in part to the pandemic. And Coyote was over there just squirting out a giant bottle of Whataburger ketchup all over his fries, not realizing that we were in a shortage. But because of the pandemic and everyone's getting to go, we have a shortage of packets of ketchup.
Wow.
Restaurants have gone to just taking their giant portions and putting them into smaller little containers that then go out to people. But I was already having trouble remembering to ask for ketchup at McDonald's, because that became a thing after the 90s, right? You had to ask. And even when you ask, you got to triple ask. And you got to check the bag. You got to hold up the line, because half the time they don't do what they say they're going to do. And then they'll put ketchup in the bag. So now you're telling me that they're already going to limit the 2 packets I already get to probably 1? Because the price of ketchup packets apparently has gone up 13% since all this is starting now. Heinz, one of the bigger producers of ketchup in the world, says they try to produce 12 billion packets of ketchup every year, which is insane. And I know they're partnered with Mr. Patrick Mahomes. I'm wondering how his steak is probably so dry with the lack of ketchup in this world. Now, ketchup, I'm not a Patrick Mahomes. It's not going on my steak, okay? Got some Frenchy fries. If I don't have special sauce, I'm happy to put it in some ketchup, put a little bit on my burger. But I'm not a big ketchup girl. Otherwise, have you felt Have you been hit by this shortage, Chris?
I have not been hit, and I've noticed, I pull through the Whataburger drive-through a lot, and they're still saying, do you want ketchup with that? I mean, they ask you, and they give you whatever you want. If you want 3, you want 4, whatever you want, and they'll only ask you want regular or spicy ketchup. So
yeah,
but I have not been hit.
I'm a big fan of the Chick-fil-A, and I use their mobile app. And on their mobile app, for every either fry or entree, you get 2 sauces. So and ketchup counts as a sauce.
Ooh.
So you only get 2. So you got to choose wisely. And Chris now saying I need a ketchup drawer. I try to keep my pantry and fridge pretty clean as far as like having excess and things that I'll probably just forget about and it will expire. So anytime I get extra sauces or anything, I tend to not keep them. Maybe I should now maybe I should keep the ketchups and then sell them.
I have had drawers, like a ketchup drawer where like ketchup in packets winds up in there. Soy sauce from Chinese restaurants winds up in there.
Yeah.
But you brought up Chick-fil-A. I got chicken nuggets once. I got the grilled chicken nuggets because I thought that's better for me than fried. So I'll get grilled chicken.
Fair.
And they're seasoned very, very well at Chick-fil-A. So I give them the thumbs up. But you need enough dipping sauce. So I asked for 2 once. And always at a fast food place, you've got to check the bag or you will get screwed. So I worked that day. So I got to the station and I think it was a Spurs. I had something like 12 nuggets. They give me 1 packet, which lasted for like,
you got to use it sparingly.
yes. Yeah. Then I'm rationing little like droplets of sauce for my grilled Chick-fil-A chicken nugget. I need at least 2. I'd rather have 3 or 4 because I could just sop it in the sauce, but thank you, Chick-fil-A.
The other thing I have about a ketchup drawer is that I'm so type A, and you mentioned Whataburger ketchup. Theirs come in the little little boxes.
Yes.
Not like squeezable packets. So I'm working with different product and different product sizes. It's just I can't handle that.
See, I thought you were going to tell me you order them very carefully in the drawer. Like here's the McDonald's ketchup, here's the Whataburger boxes of ketchup, and you keep them all perfectly aligned. But no, you just say screw it. I'm not doing a ketchup drawer.
So Heinz trying to fix the ketchup shortage. I haven't heard if Whataburger is experiencing their own ketchup shortage because of course they have their own wonderful line of ketchup. That is the ketchup that I prefer to keep in my fridge for the times that I do use ketchup is Whataburger because obviously I'm a true Texan. Why would I use Heinz unless it is from a drive-through?
Heinz also almost John Kerry, who ran for president once against George W. Bush, had he won, his wife Teresa Heinz Kerry, she's an heiress to the Heinz Corporation and therefore ketchup fortune. We almost had Heinz ketchup as the first lady in the White House had John Kerry won.
And honestly, I think the real ketchup shortage here is in part to stadiums, most of which, from my experience, have gone away from the packets and have moved into the like giant. You then squeeze the bottle and it comes out. Which, by the way, during COVID, I don't think we can go back to that.
No.
But I hate that because then I have to sit there and I have to unwrap my sausage wrap in the middle of everybody versus just grabbing a couple packets and going back to my seat. I just feel like I don't care for that, and I think you should work on maybe doing packets instead. And
agreed.
I know we're having a shortage right now, but I think make less of the giant buckets of mustard and ketchup and just make packets.
Yeah, and I don't want to squeeze the little plastic bottle that 27,000 other people have just had in their hands. Yeah. God knows where their hands have been. And even some of the places have the little pump action thing that you'll get.
Yeah.
But their hands are on that. I don't want to put the palm of my hand on that either.
Yeah.
Unless I got a glove.
So either they need to start doing in the back. Would you like ketchup? Would you like mustard? Yes. Give me a little line, or give me the packets.
Yes.
Make that an option.
So who knew the Spurs Coyote would lead you to the story on the ketchup shortage?
I mean, I thought it was a joke, and lo and behold, it's a trending topic of the day.
My goodness.
Now you know. We
know. We are educated. Everybody go out and get some ketchup on your fries today. And Chick-fil-A, don't be shorting me my sauce on. I
believe Chick-fil-A is like the better of the sauce givers.
I know. I think it was personal. I think they just knew it was me. Oh, that's Chris.
Here comes this guy.
Let's ruin his day. He said bad things about us in the past. And yes, I have, but that's a whole different story.
Just pray on it.
I will. Yes. Thank you. I'm going to Waco. I'm going to go find a church in Waco and pray with the rest of the Baylor fans. Coming up, the great Bill Schoening. We'll talk not only Spurs and NBA basketball. We'll talk about Baylor winning the national championship. And Shannon will ask him who should be the permanent host of Jeopardy. Biting questions coming your way in the 8 o'clock hour. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney. He's the boy wonder, Jeremy Fouts. I'm Chris. With you till 9. It's the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Yolanda, welcome in. Happy National Beer Day. Got the story here somewhere on National Beer Day. See, it is National Beer Day. We got the official release. But so it's National Beer Day, but don't forget, it is also International Beaver Day. So national on the beer, international on the beaver. Just saying. All righty. Bill Schoening next. It's ice for my tea. Fred Robert Casares Jr., welcome in. Leo Zambrano, good morning. Sam Tobias is drinking to National Beer Day. God bless you. Bill Schoening, a few minutes away. Jeff Goldblum, that's a good idea. Somebody's saying on Twitter, Jeff Goldblum for host of Jeopardy. Yeah, he's just quirky enough, and he kind of has that. He kind of has that Alex Trebek, kind of that acerbic persona. Fred, you're talking about Patrick Stewart, which is interesting because people are talking about LeVar Burton, who was on the same Star Trek The Next Generation with Patrick Stewart. But yeah, Patrick Stewart would be good. Yeah, Hector Gomez says, I like Jeff Goldblum, funny and smart. I've heard Anderson Cooper of CNN. I think he'd be good. Anderson, you've seen him on New Year's Eve. He can be very funny when he wants to, and comes off as very smart. I see Yolanda on Twitter saying almost 24 hours after my second vaccination, all I've experienced so far is a sore arm, tiredness, and this morning I woke up with a headache. All tolerable at this point. I don't want any of those on my second one. Hopefully this will be all I experience. All I know, and I've heard people, I think Wes in here has told me as well, the second Pfizer vaccine can knock you for a loop. My 97-year-old mother had both of them and had 2 Pfizers and was fine. No symptoms, no issues after the second one. So I'm hoping I have the same genetic makeup as she does and I get out of it unscathed. I think it's not next week, but the week after is when I get my second. Nice. All right, Hector. Hector had his second shot on Monday. No side effects. Good to hear. Hector, was that Pfizer? Did you have the Pfizer vaccine? And I'm just checking with you. You know Bill Schoning's coming, right? Okay, I'm just checking. Thank you, Hector. Now, when is my... My second shot is Thursday, the 22nd of April. So, Shannon, I'm not expecting to have side effects from the second shot. But if I did, Friday, the 23rd, be on notice.
Understood.
Yeah. And then again, as I told you, I think it's the 14th of May. I'm having that procedure. Thomas V. Martinez, a sore arm and fatigue for him on the second shot. Carl Fisher, just a sore arm. Carl Fisher's birthday is April 22nd, which I think is Earth Day, correct? I believe April 22nd is Earth Day. And that would fall under the High Holy Days, beginning 420 through 429, which is Willie's birthday. Thomas says, give yourself 48 hours of rest. We can't do that, Thomas. We got Spurs games. Bill Schoening is there.
This is the Chris Duel Show.
Woo!
Now, Chris Duel.
It is Wednesday. It is midweek. It is a Spurs game night. San Antonio Spurs on the road in Denver. In fact, they're going to be there a couple of nights because they play the Denver Nuggets tonight and they play the Denver Nuggets again on Friday night. Been a number of those occurrences on the NBA schedule this year as things have been changed up a little bit given the whole pandemic. It's the Chris Duel Show along with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. Jeremy Fouts makes the show go. Programming note, tomorrow in this half hour, Major League Soccer Commissioner Don Garber will be joining Shannon and me. Of course, Austin FC up and running in MLS, Major League Soccer. So we'll talk all things Austin FC. We'll talk all things Major League Soccer with MLS Commissioner Don Garber tomorrow at 8:20. So hang out with us tomorrow at this time. We love hanging out with Bill Schoening in his 20th year as the radio voice of the San Antonio Spurs. Before that, the voice of the Texas Longhorns, and especially on a game day. Bill Schoening, good to have you on board. How you doing this morning?
Very good to be with you, Chris. Good morning.
Well, and it would be in a normal year, you would not be in Austin this morning. You would be in Denver with the Spurs, and this would be kind of interesting to be on the road with them because they're going to spend a few days in Denver, given the 2 consecutive games against the Nuggets.
Yeah, I remember the last time we had multiple games in Denver, and that was during the playoffs in 19. Of course, Denver ended up winning that very good opening round series, 4-3. It wasn't as good as it could have been. The Spurs had edged the Nuggets in Game 7. But one of the things I remember about hanging out in Denver was the fact that the Colorado Avalanche were also playing in the playoffs. And Carl Schoening came up to do stats for me for a couple of games. And we got to go to an NHL playoff game.
Cool.
Pretty cool. I hadn't been to an NHL playoff game since I was in high school. And there's just something about seeing the NHL live as opposed to TV. It's one of those sports that when you watch it live, it's just so much better than it is on the tube. And especially with the intensity of a playoff game. And I think Denver upset, they were like the 8th seed, and they upset Calgary, I believe, was the number 1 seed in the Western Conference in that series. They won that particular game, but it was really cool. And I was really having a good time. I was pulling for the Avalanche. I didn't really have a dog in the hunt, but I was pulling for them since it was their home arena. And I forgot that I was wearing a Spurs sweatshirt. And, of course, the Spurs were in the midst of giving the Nuggets a very difficult time in that series. And I got some hate, man.
Oh.
Yeah. How dare you come in with a sweatshirt? You know, hey, man, look, I'm on board for your team. Leave me alone. You know, tomorrow night we'll go head-to-head, but I'm on board for your team tonight, man. I'm just here watching hockey. But that was fun. And so if you ever get a chance to see an NHL playoff game live, I would highly recommend it because the intensity level is actually very, very high, and it's a great sport to watch live.
Well, and Bill, the Spurs hoping to go to Denver and get over this 3-game losing streak, but Denver has won 6 straight. They've won 14 of their last 17, and they now have the addition of Aaron Gordon. When the Spurs played the Magic earlier in the year, Aaron Gordon didn't even take the court for that game. So how does that addition to the Denver Nuggets stack up against the Spurs team?
It makes them even more dangerous than they were before, and they were pretty good before. But Aaron Gordon brings an element of athleticism to their front court. He's been complementing Nikola Jokic very well, and it just gives them one more weapon and one more thing that they can do. They already have Michael Porter Jr., who's really coming into his own this year. He had another good game last night. I'm looking at his numbers from last night. He had 25 points and 7 rebounds. They shot nearly 60% last night against Detroit. This is a very good offensive ball club. Routinely scoring in the 120s, 134 points last night. So for a Spurs defense that, quite frankly, has been struggling a bit, this is a very tall task, these next 2 games. And, of course, Dallas has been playing very well, and that's the 3rd game on this road trip. I believe Dallas has won 5 in a row, so certainly not getting any easier. And DeMar DeRozan even talked about that like last week. Hey, we know we're going through a tough stretch here, and it's only going to get tougher, and it is.
Well, and you mentioned the Dallas Mavericks, and Bill, as you know, Shannon is a Dallas Mavericks fan, but we forgive her for that. We still talk with her, and I'm sure we'll be going after it on Sunday night when the Spurs are in Dallas to take on the Mavericks. Bill, as you know, it was a kind of a bumpy homestand, this 9-game homestand. Spurs did not perform as well as they would like. Yet, you look at their road record at 12-7, and certainly that's kind of what I'm hanging my hat on as a Spurs fan, hoping that they go back to the way they've played on the road all year, which is playing very, very well. In a weird way, you would rather be at home and not be on the road, but this might be the way things went at home. Maybe because of the success they've had, and maybe because of, you've talked about this, Bill, that this team being on the road is not what it used to be. They're kind of sequestered, and kind of whereas before players would go out and see the sights in a city, it's kind of, I think, a relief and a release for them to actually get into an arena and play another team, and they've been successful at it. So we'll see how they can do tonight.
And against this Denver team, that's going to be very difficult. They're a very good home team, and of course, this arena, which used to be known as the Pepsi Center, now it's called Ball Arena. And Chris, from working with me on the game broadcast, I always have, I don't know, my brain, the way it works, I have a hard time adjusting to new names for old arenas.
Yeah.
So it's just like, for years and years, this place was Quicken Loans Arena. Now it's something else.
Yeah.
America West Airlines Arena. Now it's something else. So Conseco Fieldhouse is a good example. For years, Bankers Life Fieldhouse down in Indianapolis. So I remember one time I came on the air and said, good evening and welcome to Conseco Fieldhouse. It hadn't been Conseco on the floor, Bankers Life Fieldhouse. So our good friend Mike Bartlett, who produces the games, caught that and reminded me that it's now Bankers Life Fieldhouse, not Conseco Fieldhouse. And on 2 of the pregame interviews, one was with Patty Mills, I had said, welcome back to Conseco Fieldhouse. And he actually edited that part out. So it just says, welcome back to the Fieldhouse. I don't always have Mike to correct me when I don't get the arena names right. Tonight, I will probably call Ball Arena the Pepsi Center at least once, but always been the Pepsi Center to me. But they're very, very tough at home. Of course, it's an elevation, which is not good for a team that, Greg Popovich called tired the other night. He said that they looked, like they were really fried and tired. So maybe going on the road will give them some energy and get them boosted up. But certainly going into a place that's 5,000 feet above sea level is maybe not the best recipe for success. But the good news is that, as you mentioned, they have played better on the road. They do have a win over Denver this year from earlier in the season back in late January. But again, this Denver team is playing very, very good basketball right now.
Now, Bill, I asked Chris this yesterday. I kind of want to get your take. I totally understand that with a guy like Greg Popovich, you're never going to be a tanking team. You're never going to purposely tank. You're always going to be working to get better, similar to what they did in the bubble last year, right, where they were really trying to play their young players just to see what they kind of had. But with the Spurs sitting in 9th right now, we're about a month out from the end of the regular season. What are your thoughts on, is it best for them to try and stay in contention to get to the playoffs, but possibly get knocked out in the first round? Is it worth maybe thinking and looking towards the lottery? I mean, what's next for the Spurs right now with the season going the way it is?
I don't think that they're ever in the mindset of tanking or losing games on purpose or trying to get a lottery pick. That's just not the way this organization is built. They're going to do everything they can to make the playoffs this year. And, of course, they have the benefit of the play-in games now, so it's the top 10. Certainly right now things aren't going in the right direction the way they wanted to. But you get a win or two and you get rolling a little bit, and maybe get some of these guys healthy. Lonnie Walker's been out. This will be his 8th straight game now with that sore wrist. DeJounte missed the other night. They haven't been holding healthy, really, since they went through that stretch where, the COVID happened, where they missed 10 straight games, or not 10 straight games, but 10 straight days, and they missed a handful of games during that stretch between the 14th and 24th of February. Since that time, they're 8-13, and again, they have not been able to get on a consistent roll. But I think their goal is always to try to, play the best they can, which means, try to get one of those, preferably one of those 8 spots. But if you get 9th or 10th, you get a chance for a play-in this year, and I think that's certainly the mindset. They've got veteran guys like DeMar DeRozan and Rudy Gay. They're around for a reason. They're trying to guide this young team to the playoffs.
Yeah, Bill, I look back to what this team has accomplished earlier in the season, the point to where they got 6 games over 500. You mentioned they've beaten the Nuggets earlier in the year. We know they went into Los Angeles, beat the Clippers and the Lakers at Staples Center. So I know that with this personnel, they can do great things. I think it's just a matter of, getting healthy again, getting back to the winning ways again. And, we talked about the latest addition, Gorgui Dieng. If he can come in and contribute significant minutes as well, I think this team can turn it around and certainly make a run. Plus, you mentioned, if you talk about a possible playoff series, when they took the Nuggets to 7 games, I believe that was a 2 versus a 7 seed. And certainly the Spurs had opportunities to win that series. I've always said, and I believe it, Pop is such a great coach. Give me a healthy Spurs team in the playoffs in a 7-game series, and Greg Popovich as coach. And I like the Spurs against anybody with a chance to knock them out. So I look forward to seeing them, get into the playoffs, and then let's see what happens. Let's see how deep they can go.
You mentioned Gorgui Dieng in there, Chris, and his contribution will be important because they're going to need low post defense tonight. Obviously, with one of the most talented offensive players in the low post and from the high post as well. In fact, he runs the point, too, at times, brings the ball up the floor. Nikola Jokic, he can do a little bit of everything, obviously. He leads this team in rebounds, assists, and points. You don't see a guy leading all 3 categories for a single team very often. That's how versatile Jokic is. So certainly the defense being played tonight by Pirtle and Gorgui Dieng will be important as far as the keys tonight for the Spurs to try to slow down this juggernaut right now that is the Denver Nuggets.
Bill, I want to shift gears to the national championship game that we experienced. And I know that game got underway when you were doing the Spurs broadcast the other night, and then you had to drive home. But I'm assuming that you saw some highlights. Baylor shocking some people by beating Gonzaga. I think a lot of people forgot that Baylor was a number 1 seed and that Baylor was a very, very good basketball team, although Gonzaga was favored to win that game and perhaps complete the undefeated season. My question for you, and I know you pay close attention to college basketball and certainly the teams in the state of Texas, do you think now with Baylor winning, with Texas getting Chris Beard, Texas Tech is good and always knocking on the door. Houston went to the Final Four. Do you think maybe we're moving into kind of a renaissance of Texas college basketball where, maybe the state of Texas is going to be making some noise for a few years to come?
Absolutely. I agree with that. And I don't really remember Chris Beard very often or very well, to be honest with you. But Chris Beard actually was a graduate assistant for Tom Penders when I was at UT. He would have a couple of different young graduate assistants around. So I actually remember Chris Beard very well, but he was there while I was there. But he obviously is a very well-respected coach, and I didn't know they were going to be able to get him from Tech, but they were able to make the deal, and obviously Chris Beard really wanted to come back to Austin. And, he goes in with his eyes open. He knows the expectations are very high for the University of Texas program. They're building the new arena, which will be online in a couple of years, and they've always been able to recruit the state of Texas, but now you see more and more really fine high school players out of the state. So I'm sure one of the things that Chris Beard will try to do is to keep those guys in state. Back to the Baylor-Gonzaga game, I was able to watch most of that game. As you mentioned, we had just gotten off the air. We had an early tip the other night, and I was really impressed with how hard Baylor played. Coach Drew has those guys playing at an extremely high level, and every loose ball, every loose rebound, guys diving on the floor. I'm not saying Gonzaga didn't want it. They were the number 1 seed. They were undefeated. They obviously had gotten that far. But I think part of it was that Baylor just played a little bit harder, and they had an easier semifinal game against Houston. I think you can see that 2 nights earlier, Gonzaga had to go to overtime and beat a tough UCLA team. And I think that might have taken its toll in the championship game. Not taking anything at all away from Baylor. Baylor certainly deserved it. They were the best team, and they won that game going away. And I was real happy. My buddy John Morris, who I've known since 1989 and has been the voice of the Baylor Bears since 1995, and he went through all that tough stretch where all those things happened back in the day. But for them to get to this level in the 18th year for Coach Drew, I think really says something about their program. But I was really happy that John Morris will get a ring and he got a chance to call a championship season.
Bill, our kind of trending question today throughout the show has been surrounded by Jeopardy and Aaron Rodgers, who's currently on a 2-week stint. And he said that he'd love to be the full-time Jeopardy host. Chris and I don't really think he has the personality to fit. We even think you might be a better fit than Aaron Rodgers. Of course, you've got a great and wonderful voice. I don't know if Spurs fans would be happy if it took you away from that. But is there a guy that you think should be the next Jeopardy host? And do you even watch Jeopardy? Is this one of your daily viewing pleasures?
In Salt Lake City's a meteorologist, Eric, and he is addicted to Jeopardy. So I have not gotten his take yet on Aaron Rodgers, his role. I like Aaron Rodgers. I haven't seen the show yet, to be honest with you, Shannon. So I really don't know. But I'm sure there are a number of really good candidates. I think one of the things that you have to do to be the host of that show is, A, be well-rounded. Know a lot about a lot of different things, history, politics, art. I'm not really good on the art thing. I do know music, but also you have to have a personality and try to make it fun. And even though I think Alex Trebek kind of was he was a Canadian guy, so he was kind of laid back a little bit, but he would get his humor in there. I think you got to have a little humor as well. So I can't honestly tell you that I can critique Aaron Rodgers' work as the host of that show because I haven't seen it yet. But I would imagine there's a lot of good candidates out there that host that show.
Going to be interesting to see who it might be. Shannon and I both, one of the names being thrown out there is Neil Patrick Harris, the actor. I think he'd be good. LeVar Burton is another name that is out there. Anderson Cooper is another name. It's going to be interesting to see who they wind up getting. I think whoever it is, Bill, they've got to find someone. I think they would make a mistake. You're not going to replace Alex Trebek. So I think if you try to get someone with a persona that you're trying to get that is too close to Alex Trebek, it's just not going to work. I think they kind of need to go a little bit off script or in a different direction with a different personality who can make it their own, man or woman who would take that role. But it's an iconic national game show. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes.
When I watch that show. So I always try to keep my open mind. Of course, I forget a lot of what I've learned. You know how it is. You get to a certain age. Oh, yeah. I think I remember that from a couple of years ago with Alex Trebek. I agree with you. I think that they need to change, a little fresh start. That's really true with just about anything you see. A coaching change, for instance, Chris. How often do we see the new coach comes in, he's completely different than the previous coach? A lot of the administrations or organizations in professional sports, they want to make that change. They want to make an abrupt change, especially if things hadn't been going in the right direction with the previous regime. All right, let's change things up and get a guy that's got a great personality. I saw at the University of Texas during my time there, Mac Brown was completely different than John Malkovich. Rick Barnes was completely different than Tom Penders. It's just the different personalities that come in, change things up a little bit. And sometimes you need a change.
He is the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening. Again, tonight is a game night. Spurs in Denver to take on the Nuggets. Starting a little later than Spurs home games typically start since it's in Denver. So tip-off will be just after 8 o'clock tonight. That means Spurs radio game night with the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening, 7:30, originating out of 1200 WOAI in San Antonio and across the Spurs Radio Network. Bill, always enjoyable, and especially it's going to be a long day and night for you on a Spurs game night. We really do appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time, and we'll see you on the radio tonight.
Thanks, Chris and Shannon. We'll see you tonight.
All right. Thanks so much. Bill Schoening. Bill would be a very good Jeopardy host. He is very worldly and well-rounded, quick on his feet, fun. He'd be good.
Yeah. He says he doesn't know art, but I don't know. I bet he knows better art than the average person.
Probably. Yeah. Plus, Trebek couldn't have known everything in every category. So when you don't know it, you fake it. That's why you've got writers and a research staff.
What makes them so good at what they do.
Yeah. What I want to do, and coming up, Shannon, and you tweeted it out as soon as Chris Beard dropped it. Bill was talking about the Longhorns and the coaching change and new head coach Chris Beard. He released a statement to Longhorn fans yesterday. Let's read that and let's talk about that among other things.
All right.
Coming up. How much of the responsibility of building the Longhorn basketball team into a national contender and powerhouse, how much of it falls on the shoulders of Longhorn fans? Do they have to do their part? Should they do their part? Will they do their part? We'll talk about that coming up. She is Shannon Salty Sweeney. He is Jeremy Fouts, the boy wonder. We are with, and by the way, you can jump in here as well in the next segment. Whenever we don't have a guest, you're welcome. 800-707-9760. You're listening to the Chris Duel Show. I got out on time. Whoa! All right. See you, Carl Fisher. Leo, absolutely. If you've got a player who played for Pop, and I believe it was called Pomona Fitzer College, there was a really good story, and I skimmed it because I was in a hurry. Was it in the LA Times about Pop back at that college? It came out last week, and I bookmarked it. It's like multiple pages. It would take a good 20 minutes to read, and I didn't have 20 minutes. But really talks about his tenure there and what he was like and what it was like. I got to go read that. And one of his players was Mike Budenholzer, and we know how that worked out. Gave him a gig in the video room for the Spurs and worked his way up to lead assistant, and now maybe on the verge of winning a championship if they could pull that off in Milwaukee. Shannon, can you hear me? She can't hear me right now. Oh, so that was an LA Times article. Yeah, I got to go back and read it. Wow, Clint Proctor. Let's see. Some Eagles. You can never go wrong with the Eagles. Life in the fast lane. Jeremy Fouts, your soundscape stylist. Welcome in. I'm Chris. It's the Chris Duel Show along with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. Tomorrow in the 8 o'clock hour, Major League Soccer Commissioner Don Garber will be talking with us. All things MLS, all things Austin FC. His thoughts on the direction of the league and what Austin FC will mean to soccer in MLS. So Don Garber, 8 o'clock, check that 8 o'clock hour, 8:20 to be specific tomorrow. So check that out. And so do we know, or roughly, Shannon, I know Austin FC is on the road first before their first home opener, but do we know roughly when that is?
The home opener is in June, early
June.
June.
Okay.
I don't want to give out the date because I'm not exactly sure, but it's early June.
Very good. So that'll be very, very cool.
Oh yeah, we're ready.
So our friend Clint Proctor sending us
What a guy.
a cool license plate though. Who's
Really cool license plate. Clint, a resident Texas Tech fan on the show, apparently made a bet with his work buddies about Chris Beard coming to Austin as the next Texas Longhorns men's basketball head coach. And apparently the bet saw Clint get a custom Texas license plate, I guess at the mercy of the Texas fans he works with. And because Chris Beard did in fact come to Texas, Clint now has a Sarkit.
That's beautiful.
Sark license plate in burnt orange on his car. I asked him how long he's in for. I don't know I've never had a custom license plate, so I don't know how those work exactly. If it's month to month or if we're talking like you're in it for a year. But I love it. What a guy. I mean, dedication at its finest.
Now, but he did.
Oh, he just said it's not his car.
Okay, then we. Well, so it's not his car. B, he then tweeted a photo with an upside down hook 'em horns. So no, not good, Clint Proctor.
Way to go, Clint.
We were beginning to respect you. Yeah, we take back any respect we had for you, Clint. All right.
Well, with that, let's read the lovely statement that Mr. Chris Beard sent to Longhorn Nation yesterday. He addressed the nation. He addressed everyone via his press conference, and now he has addressed the nation via a written letter to Texas fans saying, "I'm humbled I'm honored, and I'm excited to be the head basketball coach at the University of Texas. I'm looking forward to the journey that lies ahead for all of us. The expectations here at Texas are exactly the opportunity that I was looking for. Expectations don't scare me. It's the reason why I am here. I am so proud to be back on the 40 acres. I understand the standards of the University of Texas. I understand where our men's basketball program needs to be, deserves to be, and will be. This program is a Monday night program. We have to work. We have work to get there, but I'm not afraid to talk about it from day one. That's the game that we're trying to get to, and everything we will do will be about getting us to the level where we can compete for national championships. To be a championship program, we must unite the Texas basketball family. When Texas basketball is united, it is powerful. To do that, I need your help. It's very important that we create a home court advantage. We have to make the Frank Erwin Center this year the toughest place to play in college basketball. I will work tirelessly in my role to make that happen, but I'm going to need your help. We need student attendance to increase and improve. We need everyone to rally around this team. Our job is to develop a team you're excited about and look forward to challenge the opportunity that presents us. Coach Vic Schaefer also releasing a statement yesterday asking fans and for them to attend. And also he's got a goal of 7,000 season tickets sold for next season. I guess they are playing Erwin Center next season.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little more time for Moody Center to get built, but I'm sure they will have the same expectations once they do move over to that arena. And I agree with him. Texas basketball attendance has been very lackluster for years. And I do blame some of that on just where the Erwin Center is and the parking situation. And,
Mm-hmm.
you get these 6:00 tips, and traffic in Austin is no joke. It's nothing to mess around with. So if you're not already downtown, it's you got to schedule a couple of hours in advance to say, all right, I'm going to leave the house at X time so I can be there, not be sitting in traffic. Okay, what am I going to do with the free time in between? And then also this year, you add in COVID. So, but
Yeah.
I agree. I do think it's the fans do carry a lot of weight. There is something to be said about having fans in the house and seeing your team perform. You asked for this coach. Now he's asking for a favor in return. You got him here. Help keep him here by showing up to games and showing your support when and where you can.
Yeah, I thought his statement was a home run out of the park. I think he struck every tone. I think he hit every chord, saying he understands the expectations. We want to get to that Monday night game at the national championship. I relish this. I'm here. We're going to do it. And he makes a great point. And you look at every other college basketball institution, starting with the Blue Bloods, like a Duke or a Kentucky or a North Carolina, and now your latest institution, not a blue blood, but they're Gonzaga. I mean, all of the one thing they have in common, rabid fans in their arena. And as you said, you're right, Shannon, with the pandemic, with COVID, things were a little bit different. But and based on everything we're hearing about vaccines and the way things should be next basketball season, people, and you look at what they did at the Rangers game 2 days ago, they should have a lot of availability for people in stands, and home court advantage is a big deal. And it does. I mean, we found that out in the NBA and other venues. You take the fans away and home court advantage goes away. It's real. It exists. It's probably even bigger in college basketball. So Chris Beard is right to ask and encourage, and it's up to Longhorn fans to find a way into that arena. You mentioned how difficult the Frank Erwin Center can be, at least for the next year until the new place is built. Got to find a way to get in there. And the people on campus and everybody in the Austin community, including this radio station, when there's a Longhorn basketball game, we need to encourage everybody who can get their butt into that arena, cheer, be loud, and create a home court advantage like we haven't heard or seen in years and years and years with that program.
Well, and you mentioned everyone's got to do their part. The fans got to do their part in showing up, and then Chris Beard needs to do his part in putting a winning product on the floor. CDC athletic director has done his part since arriving at Texas, because Steve Patterson, when he was here, he was all about sponsorship, which, obviously that's all great and dandy. We love the money, the school getting all the money they can get. but it turned every sporting event into one giant commercial. And instead of the fun stuff that tends to happen during, TV breaks, it just became one giant ad. I mean, Chris Duel got here and he said for the football games, there was a 40-page script of sponsorships they had to hit during those games. And he knocked that down to one page. And basketball had started to feel the same way as well, where we were instead of the, lazy boy free throw shot, which is always fun to watch someone attempt. It was something else. They had like a spirit squad and guys with microphones that were talking. You're just like, what is going on? This isn't the atmosphere that we want to create here. And so he has helped in bringing that back to be a more lively atmosphere, right? There's the DJ, there's the band. It's more focused on, the cheerleaders and the dance squad. So fans need to come in. They need to see the changes. They need to experience the changes. He also brought, we got all the beer. So, you can drink there now.
Yeah.
So there's no reason, aside from, okay, you're going to say, okay, the product on the floor isn't that great. Well, they need fan support. And if you are an alumni, people still show up to A&M games. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the time is now. You got your coach. You got the best candidate for this job. Same thing that football did. That's why you got to love it if you're a Longhorn fan, alum, student. The athletic department clearly is trying to give, certainly in the case of the football team and the men's basketball team, the best coach in the land. And I think Chris Beard was the best coach available to do this. And if you look at what he did in Lubbock, and now he's going to have all the tools, so many more tools in his toolbox to recruit players to Texas. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to watch it unfold. And it's going to be a moment, Shannon, where if they don't show up, if the crowds are lackluster at Texas for the new basketball product that Chris Beard is creating, then that's on Longhorn fans. Then there's a major disconnect. And honestly, as much as we just talked about how important, and Chris Beard knows this, home court advantage is, if it doesn't happen, that's a major inhibitor for this program to try to be a Final Four program.
And I will say the university needs to do better with how they handle students attending athletic events. I mean, I know when I was there, I had to pay like $180 for, I think it was called the big ticket. So I got tickets to, basketball and volleyball, softball, baseball. But then for football, you had to do a raffle. Now I already had season tickets for football, so that wasn't an issue for me. But I think basketball games should be free for students, especially when you're not even filling up your student section. You don't need to worry about, well, what if we get too many? No.
Cross that bridge when you come to it.
Get them in there. And I love Chris Beard signed Longhorn Nation. He said, hook 'em, Chris Beard. And then he put 4:1, which apparently has been his slogan since long before he was at Angelo State. It is mental is to the physical as 4 is to 1. So he, preaches the mental side more than the physical side, which I think is a great thing. And we talk about fan attendance. I mean, that is part of that, the mental attribute of the game, right? It sucks when you're shooting free throws and you can hear the other team, the away team, booing you on the line versus your fans cheering you on when you do hit that shot. So be a part of that 4-1. Texas fans, get to the Irwin Center, watch when you can, cheer mom when you can. If you ever see Chris Beard out on the street, say what's up. Give him hook 'em horns. Show him some good Texas love.
Absolutely.
Austin and Central Texas knows how.
And if you see Sark, show him your Sarkit license plate. So
that's incredible. I'm upset with Clint though now.
Yeah. That is a brilliant though.
Well, I'm gonna block you on Twitter, Clint.
A burnt orange license plate that says Sarkit. I like it. And the car that he's posing by has the metallic Longhorn logo.
I mean, I've got one of those on my car.
Yeah, right. So I mean, you've got, if you're going to have that license plate, you've got to have that.
I'm legit.
You got to have that logo.
Now, Chris, we do have a poll question today.
Yeah, believe it or not, even though we never referenced it, but yes, we do. What might it be?
But people are voting.
Exactly.
And we're asking, with the Carolina Panthers trading for Sam Darnold, what team would be the best landing spot for QB Teddy Bridgewater? We talked about it a little bit yesterday, so we went ahead and put it out there. Currently leading the way, Texans.
Whoa!
35% of the vote. I mean, I wouldn't be, if I'm a Texas fan, I'm desperate, right?
Yeah.
I'm the guy. I don't want a guy that I know is the guy. I think Tyrod Taylor is great, but you also coming off that injury, I don't know that you know exactly what you're getting. Does he have the lungs to go a full game?
Right.
After that crazy incident of last year. Following with 33%, the Saints, which I think would be a natural fit for him, as we discussed. He was back up to Drew Brees and came in and performed very, very well for them. He'd be going back into a system he already knows with Sean Payton. The only guy who'd probably be against it at this point is Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Another option we have on here, Cowboys as backup to Dak, 24%. I think that's a very fair and reasonable place for him to land. Cowboys still looking for backup, and a veteran would be a great option to have. And finally, other 6% of the vote.
Just sight unseen, and you mentioned Tyrod Taylor. We don't know how healthy he's going to be after that punctured lung.
Mm-hmm.
Let's assume he'll come all the way back and be absolutely healthy. But just knowing from their bodies of work in the National Football League, and I do like the Texans. I'm a Cowboys fan, but in the AFC, I want to see the Texans successful. God knows they're at the depths of despair right now with that franchise, but Teddy Bridgewater, to me, Shannon, is a better quarterback than Tyrod Taylor. If they got Teddy Bridgewater, although I'm sure they'd have an open competition for starting quarterback, but to me, the guy to beat would be Teddy Bridgewater. It would be on Tyrod Taylor to find a way to beat him out for starting quarterback. I would personally, as a guy who wants to see the Texans resurrect themselves, and I think one way or another, the Deshaun Watson era is over in Texas. I would love to see Teddy Bridgewater wind up with the Texans.
Now, if you're Teddy Bridgewater and you have the option to be just going in and then saying, hey, you're going to be the starter, there won't be a battle or anything, and you get to pick between the Saints and the Texans.
I think
the Texans.
I
You
think
could be
no
the guy
question.
to drag them out of the mess that is the current situation, but also you have to be put in that situation to begin with, or you go back to like your comfort zone.
I think the Saints are so close to winning a Super Bowl. I truly believe, Shannon, right now, Teddy Bridgewater is on the phone with his agent saying, move heaven and earth to get me to the Saints, get me back to the Saints somehow. To me, that seems like the no-brainer to me, as much as I'd love to see him on the Texans.
I saw a video yesterday of Sam Darnold. I guess he's at home and there's like a couple of North Carolina colored balloons, and they're celebrating that he's going to this new team and starting this new chapter in his career. And I'm looking at him, and I mean, he still looks like he's fresh out of high school.
He's only 23.
Like, he's not really ripped. He's got some skinny legs. He's wearing basketball shorts and a random shirt. His hair looks like he just got it from a nap. And like, he still has time to be the success that so many wanted him to be. I mean, he's one of those that just got put into a bad situation from the jump.
Yeah, there's some guys coming out of college into the NFL at 23, and Sam Darnold is still 23. Good point. That's going to do it. Our thanks to Jeremy Fouts, the boy wonder, and the newest Twitch sensation, Bill Schoening, the great Bill Schoening, voice of the San Antonio Spurs. Always outstanding. Spurs play Denver tonight, 8 o'clock, 7:30 pregame on the Blowtorch and across the Spurs radio network. Don Garber, the MLS commissioner, will join us tomorrow at 8:20. Shannon, great job as always. Have yourself a wonderful Wednesday.
You as well, sir.
Woo.
We'll do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do it again tomorrow. 21 hours. In the meantime, look for Shannon on Twitter at Shannon B. Sweeney. Look for me at Chris Duel. And look for Jeremy at SATX Foxy Grandpa. And on Twitch, where he's a sensation. We'll see y'all later. Have a great Wednesday.